look who's joining us. Lucy wanted to get in on the fun, so she's got her little Christmas bow in her hair. I don't know. Oh, can you see it? There's a good view. There's a good view. She got her little haircut, and she is all feeling festive. Lucy, got her bow. Okay, she's ready to get down. She wanted to come up. I don't know. Grandma Candy's on. Oh, no, she has her bone, so she's off to other better things than me. Talking horses, probably. Yeah, so it's like 2 days before Christmas, so I wanted to wish everybody a happy holiday, and I hope everyone is warm enough. It's been a little bit cold. I literally just got home, so I'm still kind of bundled up. Couple of quick announcements and exciting things that happened. Ashley is probably not going to be able to watch. I know Sid's on, and Sid's horse and Ashley's horse just arrived in Wellington, so that's exciting. So she took 2 horses down with our small trailer. She left this morning. She's arriving like right now, and then she's going to spend Christmas down there with our very good friend Amy, and then come home. And then we're going to go back down. We are moving, we're taking 16 horses in total, but we are not moving that many. I think we're maybe taking like 12 or 14 on the 2nd. So we are slowly gearing up for that. So we're excited about that. It's getting a little cold. My mom is here for Christmas, and actually she's going to stay through the winter. Usually she comes to Wellington with us. But just because it's been a weird year and isolation is a great idea these days, she's going to stay up in South Carolina. But it's great to be out of Wisconsin, so we're happy about that. And yeah, Christmas is right around the corner. We got a tree. Let me just give a little. Oh, it's so cute. We are never here for Christmas, actually. So this is a brand new thing for us. Normally, we are on our way to visit family in Wisconsin, and of course we're not getting on any airplanes, and we're not up to traveling like that. So we are here, and we delayed going to Florida so that we could spend some of the holidays with part of our family. So my mom came down, so that's great. And yeah, so Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody out there as well. Academy talk real quick. I just am so happy. There's so many people who are enjoying it, and I just made 4 new videos. I just posted a little bit on there, I think yesterday or the day before. I was sitting next to the Christmas tree, and I like to watch the videos before I send them to Cerise and Catherine for them to edit and, get ready for you guys. Just want to make sure I'm clear and it all makes sense, and sometimes I like to call my own calf the hind leg. That's like a thing I do. So I just want to make sure I didn't do that. But it was really fun because I'm starting to, because now that the library is getting so big, it's really fun to think about how there's I was riding Isaac around the other day, actually, last week. And I was like, these are like 5 videos right here in this 120-meter circle I'm doing. So I'm like, I need to do a video about that. Like how to apply all of the exercises. Like I really feel like this first year in the academy, we're really just building our library. And if your trainer says you need to get the horse better off your inside leg, what should I do? Go click on turn on the forehand with Darby, quarter turns on the forehand with Gideon, leg yield, like whatever. So there's like quick tutorials in there, but then that's not only what trains your horse. What trains the horse is being able to mix all those together, figure out what's going wrong, what exercises help that, and that you can read or listen to my lecture, Riding Your Horse Sound, lateral work and understanding what each of those do. But just incorporating all these different exercises. How do I get them in front of the vertical? How do I get them more engaged? What am I looking for? What's the feeling? So that was really fun. I did 2 different exercises with Isaac, 2 different videos, and that was really fun to like mix a lot of the tutorials together into, okay, now that you know the exercises, how do you apply them? So that's really fun. I'm excited about that. Talking again, back to Florida talk. Poinciana, we just had our first trainer meeting. I'm so excited. It's like such a beautiful place. Jane Cleveland, I saw her building it, and it was actually next door to the place I was. So for 4 years, I was at Joshua Tree. And then for 10 years, I was at Elizabeth Gorisco Wolf's place, Yellowbird Farm, which I'm sure a lot of you have visited or seen pictures. Liz is putting that up for sale, so that was not an option this year. And so, yeah, we are going to Poinciana, and I'm so excited because Sabine Schutt-Carey is going to be there, Scott Hassler, Sarah Hassler. I'm so excited to share a barn with them again because Scott has been, he was in our wedding. He was a dear, dear coach for me for many years, so it'll be really fun to ride again with them. Vifel's on here. She's coming all the way from California. We're so excited. Sid's coming. She's on here. We're just so happy and excited. So Poinciana is going to be a new place for us, but Jane has been amazing, and one of the, I saw it being built on Facebook, and I was like, that place looks amazing. And Jane it's just like incredible. There's like all these stalls. We're taking one full barn. We're in the south barn, so we have 16 stalls, like tack rooms and tacking areas and wash stalls. There's a walker, covered arena. I've been going to Florida a very long time, over 20 years. I've never had a covered arena, so I can't wait. And such good trainers there. It's such a great group of people. We're going to really miss Jackie Brooks, but next year it'll be really, really, really fun. So we're really excited about that. And we had a great trainers meeting. We're going to talk about management tonight because so many great ideas. But I did settle on management. And speaking of Poinciana, they also have a walker. So I have not used that before, but I have a couple who I think could use a couple of rounds in the walker before I get on them. Not to mention any names, Freddie, but that'll be really great. So excited about that. And the Academy stuff, what's happening? So Apollo is finally in there. I know Kelly had to text me right away because Apollo is her favorite. She's the captain of his fan club, president of his fan club, and it just came out. We're doing ground poles, so you can see how we have developed that fancy trot. And what else is in there? I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, it was funny because it was just going to end up to be like just like a bonus video of like, what do you do when you first get in the saddle? So we called it Self-Care in the Saddle, and it goes through like my daily ritual of not only do I do yoga in the morning before I even step foot in the barn. It just gets me in a really good place. My body feels really good. My mind is really settled. But then always on my first horse, which is usually Gideon because he's the most fun. No, I have a lot of fun horses, and I love them all very much, but Gideon is pretty awesome. So I do a lot of 2-point, and I go through like all the different things I do to, make sure my body's in a good way. And yeah, I'm really excited Apollo's finally in the Academy, and he's actually going to be in there quite a bit coming forward, so that'll be great. Just a quick reminder that Monday we have another tack room chat. I'm so blessed to have such wonderful people running those, and we're going to talk about flying changes this time. So I always joke in the Academy that there are literally going to be like so many videos about flying changes because there's a lot of prep for them, there's a lot of basics we need to cover, there's a lot of exercises we do, there's a lot of troubleshooting. And it'll be kind of fun because once we get down to Florida, I'm actually gonna like do an interview with each of my horses, tell you about them, tell you what their programs are, what they do, what we're working towards, who they are, what their personality is like, what we struggle with under saddle, what we don't struggle with under saddle. So you guys can, I thought it would really be fun for you guys to follow along. It can be kind of like a video journal, following the horses that we have. We have young horses, we have old horses, we have Grand Prix horses, we have ponies, we have like all kinds. So I think it'll be fun for all of you to kind of get to know them better and really get behind the scenes and meet all of our wonderful horses. And we can talk about Denali is slowly gearing up for learning the changes. I have attempted a couple times. It has not been great yet. To the left is like kind of okay. So it'll be fun to kind of document that too. So this Monday at the tack room chat, we're gonna have our first discussion about flying changes, which I'm sure will be awesome. So yeah, so tonight I wanted to, so many great ideas, and I want to thank all of you so much for just contributing to that post. I was like, oh, this morning I just didn't know what I should talk about, and I feel like I've been talking a lot about loss and coping and you know, just dealing with the difficult things that happen in life. And so I'm like, can we just like get back to training horses, because that's what brings joy to my soul. So I'm so glad we finally get to talk horses again. And management is what I picked for tonight. I can't wait. I'm going to take notes because I'm just that way. I'm going to take notes from all the wonderful ideas you guys sent me. And I think next week, which is going to be the last Wednesday of 2020, I think goal setting will be a great idea for that. So we can sort of like have our sights set on 2021, what that looks like, what's realistic, how do you plan, how do you adjust. So that'll be for next week, but I needed a little bit more time to prepare for that. But management, I can talk about that all day because that's just what we do every day. So I want to first talk about diet. And, you know, I think something that's extremely important is the ability to offer your horses free choice hay. So we've got a couple of fatties on the team, so they have like a hay net, or maybe they have a double hay net, so they don't like scarf it down super fast. But the horse's digestive system has been developed and made in a way that it has to constantly be eating. That really helps with, you know, acid production and prevention of ulcers and boredom and all the things that we don't want our horses to have. They're grazing animals. They're meant to be walking and eating all the time. Basically, they do not sleep very many hours of the day. I wish I could function on that little of sleep, but then I'd just be riding until midnight. And my staff would not love that. Ride. Horses. So definitely feed as much hay as possible. I like to stick with either an orchard mix or a Timothy mix, just because I like to be able to feed a lot more grass hay. If I have a horse that needs a bit more energy, I will also add some alfalfa to that, but I find alfalfa makes my horses a little bit hot and a little bit buzzy a little bit, so I would change the calorie with maybe some alfalfa pellets. That does not make them crazy really at all, but I can find if I have a horse like Fiji always needed some alfalfa because he needed a little bit power for his international Grand Prix, so he did get some alfalfa. But I like to keep hay in front of them as much as possible. Now, of course, we don't want them totally, you know, wasting all of that hay, so we feed hay first. in the morning. We give meds, you know, if we have anything that needs meds, and we have to wait then before they get their hay. So then we feed hay first and then grain like 15-20 minutes later. And then if the horses are in, which during this weather it's been really wet and muddy, and so we're not turning out on the grass, we're just turning out in the all weather. So my horses are in their stalls a little bit more than normal. So then we feed a snack hay again at 9. We feed lunch hay at like 11. We feed more snack hay at like 1, and then dinner hay at like 3:34, and then of course dinner hay is a lot more flakes, and then we always do night check usually between 8:30 and 9:30, and then we give them a lot of hay. Even my horses like Apollo and Freddie, they have a hay net, so we like shove as much as we can in there. And then we also, because I think it's also natural for horses to eat off the ground, I also put some hay on the ground. So I like the hay nets because they're never going to get bored, and that you can keep the hay in front of them for a longer period of time. And yes, Carol said the nibble nets are awesome. Yes, we have all kinds of different hay nets. Always make sure you tie it up with twine in case anybody gets a foot caught in it. You want it to let go from the wall. So I am a stickler for safety, and I am not a catastrophizer, but I think I've just been in this sport long enough to know that like he's gonna try to kill himself on that. That for sure. That's no, he's gonna no. That's for sure gonna get wrapped around his head or his leg or whatever. That's gonna poke an eye out. You know, I am like crazy about safety. My horses are the most important thing to me, so I'm like always making sure everything is safe. So definitely always make sure you have a way for it to break loose when you tie it up somewhere. And yeah, as much hay as you can give them is great. We actually attempted to use one of those like pillow things that you put the hay in. I thought, oh, this would be great. They can like eat off the ground and stretch their back, and it'd be great. No, somebody got their foot caught. They got their shoe like caught on the pillow, and then they were like scared because the pillow was like chasing their foot, and that was not great. Everyone was fine, but it just wasn't going to work. So I like them to be up high enough that they're not going to get their leg caught, but in a breakaway with some twine if they do. So I love hay all the time. And then we feed for grain. I am a big fan of the whole food diet. Tigger has really changed some of my horses' lives for the better. I also feed Triple Crown, so I like to feed the least amount of grain as possible. So we do a lot of like ration balancer. Some horses are on like the training version, but a lot of times we have a lot of the whole food diet, which is, you know, you can add whatever you want to it. So if they need a little bit more energy, you can add, you know, some oats to it. If they need less energy, you know, you just want to use the alfalfa pellets. And yeah, I'm sure we'll have Tigger on here because she's an amazing nutritionist, and Claire Toons also amazing. She has helped me through Enviro Equine, because I would also say my 3 favorite supplement companies is, of course, BioStar with Tigger, but Enviro Equine, we feed everybody in the barn the Daily Balance, which is an electrolyte, the Electro Balance, as well as it's got some really interesting clay base, which helps like take things out of the gut. So everyone in our barn, that's like our electrolyte, is the Electro Balance, and it's really good vitamins and minerals. And I've been really impressed. We had another live through a company that we worked with a little bit, but Enviro Equine has just been amazing. They've got wonderful products. So our whole barn is on that, and I love that. And then Grand Meadows, I also have a couple horses on that, which I really like for their vitamins and minerals. Again, just like a daily, you know, just to make sure they're getting all their vitamins. My horses, I guess we could just move into turnout because I would say My horses aren't out on grass all day. Like, I wish I could do that. I think that's the best way. Outside, moving around as natural as possible would be perfect, but in a high performance barn, we really can only get them out maybe 3 to 4 hours a day, and then we've got to switch with the other horses. So if we have less horses at the barn, they can have more time out, and some get out in the sand paddock. We have a couple of all-weather paddocks that Richard built, so some get out there in the morning and then grass in the afternoon. I attempt to give them as much turnout as possible, but I don't have that much property. I've got a lot of smaller paddocks, but we are building a bigger pasture in the back, which we could turn horses out like together because it's a little bit bigger. So I'm excited about that, but that's not built yet. You know, step by step, making improvements to the farm. So because my horses don't eat grass all day long and eat the dirt and, you know, get the minerals from the earth, I like to supplement them with Enviro Equine, Grand Meadows, and of course BioStar. So yeah, you know, and my opinion about turnout, I hope I just made that clear, that as much turnout as possible would be great. Groups, also great. And I will say, so many people are like, oh, I would turn him out, but he's got shoes behind. And I will say, the only horse I have ever had break a leg, it was a spiral fracture in the cannon bone behind. They were very hungry and one kicked the other, and no shoes behind. So of all of my years of turning horses out together, the one horse that actually broke his leg, and he was fine and he went on, he's alive and doing well, he's great. But it was broken by a horse that didn't have shoes behind. So for me, that's not that big of a deal whether they're turned out with shoes or not shoes. A lot of times my young horses go out together and I typically don't have shoes on them behind, so that's kind of like, that just happens that way. But this summer we put 2 mares out together and they both had shoes behind, and one was pre-St. George and one was like 3rd level, and they had a great time and got along great, both with shoes behind. So I'm not really picky about that. Groups, I think horses love herds. I do think if you have a horse that just is obsessed with the herd, I think you can make some adjustments in that way. With just you becoming the herd, but we can talk about that in another live as well. What else? The working program. Okay, so probably my top horses work 5 days a week. I kind of think all my horses probably work 5 days a week, except for the very young horses. Sometimes we make the 6th day a hack day, but then they for sure get 1 day off. But unless it's like Fiji needed to go twice a day, and he would get hacked on so Mondays I take off, you know, like off, you know, I have a late day on Monday. So usually I ride or am teaching or something, because horse. I'm always doing something with horses. But Tuesdays is like a full work day, full normal exercising work day. So all my horses have most likely had Monday off. So Tuesday is a lot more fundamental, basic work, I would say. And I'm sure you guys who are in the academy hear me talk about the importance of walking. The horses walk a lot. Walk all the time. My grooms walk them. I get on and walk them. That's my time to actually answer text messages, which is probably not great. But, you know, everyone's got to walk around a bit. So, and so then Tuesdays is a lot more like stretching and really getting them over their back, and lots of transitions. It's really, for me, like a basic day. Get my seat really good, get their balance really good, and I kind of prep in my mind what I want to do that week. Like, oh, I want to make sure I look into the flying change, or oh, I want to really check in with the piaffe and the passage, or oh, I really, like Freddie is learning turns on the 4 hands and leg yields, and because he's 4. So like they're all at different levels, but I sort of have like a soft plan, I would say, at the beginning of the week. And so the first day is just getting together, getting in harmony, getting loose. I have a firm belief that before I do any type of deep engagement and collection work, my horses must be loose. That's like, they have to freely move forward, free forward flowing, like the proper warm-up. I want that feeling in all the work. So Tuesdays are really meant to be focused on that. And then Wednesdays would be my second day of work. That gets into the work a bit more. That's like, okay, what is my goal this week? And then we sort of like tackle into it. Of course, I still walk and I still warm up. And then I sort of pick some exercises that you can all watch in the academy. But I pick some exercises that will target the aiding system and the strengthening and looseness I'm looking for my main point. So like for flying changes, because we're going to talk about that on Monday. So for flying changes, on Tuesday during my warm-up day and my getting ready for the weekday, I would do a lot of trot, canter, canter, trot, because I really want that horse's back to be super loose and canter really full of volume, because the three things that make a flying change successful is quality of the canter, quality of the depart, quality of the half halt. So the horse has to listen to the leg and the half halt and have a good canter. So on that Tuesday, I would really be like focusing on a big, beautiful canter. And then Wednesday, because that's like the deeper work day, a harder work day, I would say I would think about, what is my goal this week? Flying changes. What do I need for that? I need to work on the discipline of the clarity of my aid and the response from my horse. So then I would move into more collection, 10-meter circle in the canter, walk, counter canter, walk, true canter, walk, do like a serpentine line. Like I have my goal as like my main idea of like, what do I want to work on this week? What do I need to teach the horse? So then I build that Wednesday, like I really get into the aspects of that certain goal that I have. And I make sure I can like tick every box of like, is he responding? What is my goal? What do I need? And then I tick the boxes of, creating that for that horse. And then I actually like I either do the change that day, or Thursdays, which is now like my third day in a row, that is following up on the hard work on Wednesday. So if I was kind of getting into something kind of deep, of a concept, of a strength gaining, I will review it on Tuesday. And if what I didn't get on Wednesday, I attempt to get Thursday. And if I got what I wanted on Wednesday, I just want to review it for the horse on Thursday. So then Fridays for me is actually like my Team Tate Academy days. And we have business meetings, and we do a lot of organization stuff. I do a lot of Zoom lessons. And, sometimes it's helpful for the horses to just like have a lunge day. Sometimes we hack them out when the weather's nice, like that's nice too. So they don't always like have that day off as well. But I think it's good for relaxation and resting of the body. As long as they get turnout, I really am a big fan of movement. Motion is lotion, people. Move as much as you can. Then I would say Saturday is also the day after a day off, so that I do a lot of, I sort of mix it. I would definitely do my same good warm up, and then I would just touch upon what I would do for that goal again. Like I would review those concepts, and then Sunday I would like work the horse again. If it was flying changes, then I would like see if I can get some changes. And if Saturday was a giant mess and the horse is like, I don't have any idea what you're talking about, I forgot how to counter canter, then Sunday is about helping him remember he can do that. It like wipes out the amnesia that they're like, I have no idea. And you're like, you do have an idea. And we did it on Thursday, so you can do it on Sunday. So then I like to help them remember that they can actually do it. So horses' brains, work in all kinds of ways. But one of my biggest goals with the Academy is to be able to create a sense of, if this is my goal, what do I need to achieve for that goal? These things. Okay, how do I teach the horse these things? And how do I create strength to be able to do the said thing? And so I really, want to break it all down for everybody to be able to just understand the process. Like, this leads to this, which leads to this, which leads to this. Oops, I have a problem. Go back. It's still not totally clear. Go back again. Now move forward, So it's not just like, oh, and all of a sudden just one day I start to do the flying changes. It's like, no. Everything is very organized, very consistent, because as we all know, horses know when it is 7:01 and you are 1 minute late to feed. They know it. They love consistency. So I do the exact same thing for my training. My horses are very relaxed in the work because they always know what to expect. Of course, that doesn't mean it's the same thing every single day and boring. I think I'm very interesting to my horses because I'm really enthusiastic, if you could tell. I'm a big cheerleader when they're doing the right thing. I am also like a firm, no, that's not right. Nope, still not right. Yes, that's right. So I'm really I change my energy quite a bit for my horses to follow and feel that they're learning by seeking the yes. And that makes them, really want to work for me. And the whole program is really structured as far as what's the least common denominator? What is going wrong? What is it? Oh, he's not listening to my leg. Okay, well, here's 4 exercises you can choose to make him listen to your leg better. Because just getting after him in the flying change is not going to be a great idea, because it's already a place where horses get anxious, and there's not a lot of discipline that can happen in that moment. Clarity and help the horse to get it. And it's a lot more coordination than it has to do with strength. So I like to take it completely away from the change, and that's where all these exercises and tutorials in the Academy will be helpful, because go pick on that one. So that's what I would do on that Sunday. If in case I ran into trouble, I always just go back and work my way back down the ladder that I had went up. So I hope that was clear how I said that. I would say we always cool our horses down really good. Oh, here we go. Here's a question from Jane. What do you do when you have a horse that is relaxed in the work with you, vacillates between that and a spook out of nowhere and likes to scoot? I would say horses, for me, don't ever spook out of nowhere. So there must be a moment when she or he loses your attention, she or he starts scanning the environment, and so she's not really settled into you anymore. So when I have a horse that I know, the minute we stop doing the exercise, we'll then start to look around, and then all of a sudden we'll do something. I always make them concentrate. I always make them mind me. I feel like if I'm going to show up for the work 100% present, I want that horse to show up 100% present. And startling is one thing. Actually, Apollo this morning totally startled from my mom's dog, Reggie. And it's bah! It's just he's like, oh my God, I didn't see him there. And I'm like, dude, you gotta slow your feet. But it doesn't turn into a scoot, because that then is sort of man-made. So a startle is totally normal, but to take it now I'm running and bucking or scooting and bolting, that's there's a lack of trust there. He is a big warm blood and loves to look for things, and you have to entertain his brain constantly. Yes, and I would say the walk break then is not on the buckle. We have one in the barn the same way. She's a little red spicy lady, and she hates walk. She's like thinks walk break is stupid because she's a go-getter and she's bored and she wants to like go to work. And she's a little bit anxious. So I would put that horse in a shoulder in all the time at the walk. And I would just make him walk slow, yield, pay attention, and soften. So, you know, and some horses scoot away because they're in pain. Some people scoot away because they feel too held in and they're claustrophobic. Horses by nature are very claustrophobic. So sometimes they're running away from pressure. And so I like to always tell my students and tell my horses as well, I want to separate his neck from his feet. So what that means is that I want my body to be able to not only control his path, like where he's going, but also the speed on which he travels on that path. But I want to be able to completely be able to let go with my reins and teach that horse, me letting go of your face does not and should not change the speed or direction of your feet. So my body, I want to control his body. My reins, I want to free up and liberate his mind so he doesn't feel claustrophobic. Okay. Can you talk a little bit more about how to get your horse to include you a little more into their herd? You spoke briefly about that. We have a horse who lives next door. I don't know if Pam's on here, but he's a beautiful 5-year-old, giant, beautiful horse. But he like runs the roost next door. And so Pam has this beautiful farm I see from my porch. I can hear her horses at night. And there's these 3 beautiful pastures for 3 beautiful horses. And the youngest one, because young horses go through this phase of being like a spoiled brat. And so I told her, I'm like, I think he needs to come over for an overnight because we need to feed him a little humble pie, which means he is attached to that property. He runs the roost over there. He goes out when he wants to. He does what he wants. And when we go to a horse show eventually, like, he has to adhere to no turnout, small stall, traveling alone, whatever. So there needs to be step by step some situations where, you know, he has to connect to a person instead of his friends that live in the pasture next to him. So he came over and Richard long-lined him and then I rode him and then he stayed overnight and then he got turned out in our little sand paddock and he was crying and whinnying and then squealing and having a little, you know, temper tantrum because it was a much smaller paddock and he should not be in this small paddock. And then we put him back in the stall and then he was like kicking the stall and having like a little meltdown. And so I took a little picture of him and I sent it to Pam and I said, he is learning to cope. And so just tiny things like that. Then we had another lesson on him and then she took him home and he was great. But like all those little experiences grow that horse into a independent partner. And I think it's really great to spend a lot of time with them. I mean, Christina, I have found the hand walking. Oh my God, I love hand walking. I wish I had time to hand walk all my horses. And Richard makes a joke when we go to the horse show. All my horses that get to go to the show are like so excited because they get to spend like all this extra time with me. But I just spend time with them. I want them to connect to me. I had one horse, I had a mare who would scoot and she never like got bucking with me because I just didn't let her scoot very long. So I would shut it down before it like got, you know, worse and worse. And so I would teach lessons. I would like ride her in the morning and then I would just like have her on a lunge line and I would just sit. She was scared of the woods. that is actually now Poinciana Farm. Funny about that. But she was like, there was like all these birds and things in the woods. And that was like behind A. So I had the mirrors up at the far end and then the woods on the other side of the fence. And so every time like something happened in the woods, she was like, you know. And so I just made her sit there. I sat on the letter A and I just made her stand there with me. And we were just together and she was coping. And I think it's similar to like the patience pole, although I don't ever really tie my horses up to that and look away from that. I know some people do that, and I've heard good success with people who do that. I do not do that personally. I would rather hold on to them because at the end of the day, I want them to just connect, you know, to me. So I do think that time is spent really well. Groundwork, rope halter, lead rope with a chain, like whatever. Sometimes I just put the lunge line. We have a special little thing we do with the lunge line. But I just want that horse to connect with me and want to be with me. So what else about the riding? I would say, yes, Megan's talking about at the horse show. I mean, everyone who has ever sees me at a horse show, I am out there at the crack of dawn hand walking those horses. And if I cannot hand walk them, because in Wellington we can't hand walk, we are riding. If you want to see the best riders in Wellington, go to the showgrounds between 6:30 and 7:30 in the morning. Everyone is riding. It's like amazing. It's like you can't see anybody ever. And like here they all are. We're all pre-riding first thing in the morning. So secret ideas happening. So yeah. So then I would say we ice after work. Shout out to one of my sponsors, Ice Horse. They've got really nice, easy boots they put on, and we just put their ice boots on in their stalls, and they eat their hay, and they're fine with that. So that's great. We also do, I've got a couple of different interesting blankets that we do. I just got a new Sport Innovations 3-in-1, so it offers heat, which has been really great this last week. I think I want to crawl in it and like heat up. So it has heat and then like magnetics and massage, which is really, really cool. So the horses get their circulations going, the muscles get loose, it's warm. We do that before we ride, so that's great. We also have a TheraPlate, which same idea. Horses with like Fiji lived on the TheraPlate like that. I took it everywhere with me because I was afraid not to use it because it was working, right? So we're gonna start that. We're gonna incorporate that back into the program a bit more in Florida. And I also have a very cool AccuHorse mat, which is like an acupressure blanket, which is very cool. Gotta be a little careful how you put it on because it's kind of spiky and kind of sharp. But like it's crazy because I also have a people one. I should show that sometime. And at first when you when you touch it, you're like, oh my god, that's so sharp. But then all of a sudden it like dissipates any discomfort or pain, and it just gets the circulation going and loosens you up. So we also use that as well. Revitavet also has a very cool pole cap. So they use a lot of infrared lighting, and that goes right, you put it like right on in the halter. That can really calm a horse down. That's pretty cool. So we use that too sometimes. And then of course everybody is snug as a bug in a rug with their back on track blankets. Oh, I could talk about leg wrapping. I am not a huge fan of stable bandages. I'm not against it. It was funny, when I lived in Europe like 20 years ago, we wrapped everyone. Everyone was wrapped all the time, these big beautiful pillow wraps and blah. But the horses also didn't get any turnout because there's no place to really turn out in Europe. So, you know, I think they would stock up a bit more. So I love my back on track quick wraps. We put those on the front feet only, so that goes a little bit also close to the hoof, but we also have back on track bell boots. So horses that have sore front feet or tendons or fetlocks I worry about up front, we put the back on track boots and then the bell boots on. And then there's a couple I do wrap behind who have a tendency to stock up, or we wrap those with back on track quilts. And yeah, I think that's it. As far as riding wear, I love our boots. The Dressage Sport boot is my favorite. Shout out to my sponsor. Love those. Really easy. We always use those at horse shows. And yeah, we also bandage. I also have a couple horses that need the long bandages because they kind of like scuff up their ankles a little bit. So we actually use the long wraps behind. So that's great too. And oh, Jenny's got a good question. Any feedback for the slow to warm up horse? Sounds like Apollo might be similar to my guy. Walking. Lots of walking. I mean, I would say my Sports Innovation blanket is like really helpful because I just want to heat him up. I just want to like get him in that blanket and just like heat him up. Because I feel like he's kind of cold too. Like he's slow to warm up and then he's not loose and then he's like kind of cold. So I definitely love that. That's helped a lot too. But it depends. So Jenny, it'd be interesting because I've had all the kinds. I've had horses that can't get going until they take a poop. I have Apollo who is tight as a tick until he loosens up and snorts and moves around and whatever. But I had a horse, and I don't know what exactly was with her back, but she was kind of a bronc. We called her Black Betty. I'm sure Kelly, if she's on here, she had arrived at the farm, and Kelly Walker was lunging her for me. I was away teaching a clinic, I think, and she was like bucking her hind boots off. And Kelly, this was before I wore my helmet every day, and Kelly's like, "You better put your helmet on this horse because this ain't no joke." She's like bucking her hind boots off, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Great. And one time she bucked with me, but didn't get me off, but she like hit my helmet. So then like my helmet's down and she was like bucking towards the wall, and I'm like, shit, oop. I was like, oh, better get her head up. And then I learned to manage it. She also broke side reins sometimes on the lunge line, because she would just like lunge and buck and just unlock herself. But I knew, like, you could feel it and see it on the lunge line, that once she was done with that, you could get on and she'd be perfect. Like, it would never come back up. But that horse, as she got older, I was riding her, and I hadn't gotten on her yet. And this is when we were still in Maryland. And one of my girls was walking her, and then I was on my horse, and I had to take the other horse back into the barn because a phone call came. So then I was on the phone, and this girl was like walking this horse, not kidding, for like at least a half hour, probably more, like 35, 40 minutes. Like, I was so late, I was on the phone, and she just kept walking her. For the first time, I got on that horse after she had walked that long, and she always felt like she was like, and like against my leg, and if I kicked her, she'd buck me off, so I always had to like walk her anyway, and then like warm her up slow and take my time. But after she literally walked that long, I got on and I could trot and canter, and I never forgot that. And I thought, I don't think I'm giving my horses a long enough walk time. So, interesting story there. So, he's a little cold and stiff. Yeah, so I like to get the horses moving when they're tight like that and slow to warm up. I do a lot of stretching. I go back up, I go stretching, I go back up. I do a lot of trot canter. I just like to certainly, yeah, and that's funny, about canter certainly helps. Yeah, like with Apollo as a young horse, like, I'm not kidding. I knew if I could just get to canter, I would be okay. Like, he would all be like tight, and like squealing when I put my leg on, and I was like, I mean, am I going to be okay with this? And I knew if I could just get up into canter and go really forward and just let him like jump over his back, I knew he would be, totally fine. So that was always a thing. I always like to get to the canter as soon as I can. Canter walk, and then it's like, wow, fancy show horse, but I know I can't start like that. Gonna try more walk. Yeah, it's interesting. You could, like, for a horse like that, Summer never wanted to do any lateral walk, or any lateral work in the walk, but Apollo loves it. Gideon loves it. Gideon's super tight, and especially now that it's cold, he's a little cheeky. He's like really feisty. So we do a lot of long half passes up the walk. Then I stretch him down on the diagonal, then I bring him back up, and I half pass the other way. A lot of suppling stuff. And then in the beginning, sometimes I just do like long, slow trots. And then as soon as it feels safe, I get into canter. And then I really just let them, I think it was Darby the other day, we were laughing. Some of the girls were in the ring. And I'm like, sometimes you just gotta canter it out. So Darby loves cantering. So, he was, definitely full of himself and just needed to canter it out. So anyway, I want to give a toast. I got my new beautiful cup. We got a beautiful gift for Christmas from Catherine Short. Gave it to us. We love it. She came for 2 weeks in August and just left yesterday. So she had a great summer with her young Connemara Devlin. So that was fun. But cheers to everybody out there. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday. And thanks for listening. And we'll talk next week about goal setting because that will be the last Wednesday in 2020. So cheers to you guys and thanks for listening. Bye.